All right, we are live. It's the Spinnin Backfist MMA show for Thursday, February 8th. It is Robbie Fox, Jack Mack, and Big Ev. We are here to talk about all of the MMA news that broke this week, the card this weekend. There is a lot to talk about. We just wrapped up an interview with Jason Jackson, Bellator welterweight champ. That and an interview with Aaron Pico will be on the channel. I'll probably put Aaron Pico up tomorrow, Jason Jackson up on Monday. So look out for those, both fighting on the Bellator versus PFL card coming up. It's a great card, two great interviews. Before we get into the show today, let's shout out New Amsterdam Vodka, born from an uncompromising passion for great vodka. The best in the biz. They've been the official vodka of Barstool forever. Pink Whitney, we shout him out all the time. The first unnamed show happened today with Ryan Whitney himself. So shout out New Amsterdam. It's a great day for him.
Yes, great day. Pink Whitney, just New Amsterdam in general. This weekend, fights. There's some amazing fights coming up in the future as well.
The big game.
The big game.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Bellator. In a few weekends, we'll have two great fight cards
on the same day.
On the same day. Make a New Amsterdam cocktail, or just have it straight. It's good enough to have it on the rocks if you like it that way too.
The Bellator versus PFL day and the UFC is in Mexico City, right? Is the same day?
Yep.
That's going to be 12 hours of great fights in a
Probably
row.
more, to be honest.
That's going to be fucking awesome. That's
just
where you
day card and then night card.
Yeah, and
beautiful
great
thing.
Cards, like genuinely awesome fights on both cards. Dana was actually talking about the Mexican Independence Day card this week. He said it's going to be a love letter to Mexican combat sports. No other organization has the financial means to put together a card like they're going to put together. He's saying.
He said the greatest live sporting event ever.
In the Sphere, right?
In the Sphere.
Yes, in the Sphere,
which someone climbed yesterday. That was crazy.
Was that Pro-Life Spider-Man?
It was but I think he was very similar.
Weird that for whatever reason, the pro-life crowd has the only crowd that has the climbers.
Yeah.
Like nobody else has used.
Is that what his cause was?
His cause on the Sphere.
I thought someone said something that he was trying to like raise money for some sort of
a homeless woman that was pregnant.
Yes.
But I believe he was also pro-life.
Okay, I thought it was just like
those things would go hand in hand in theory.
Mitt Romney in the Rumble chat. By the way, we exclusively read Rumble chats. He just surprised at how quiet it is with Paulo heading into 298. Looks like he might actually fight this. There was the photo of him shirtless. He looks to be in shape.
Yep.
There's always the chance he doesn't. He pulls out, but I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm excited for that fight. That fight should be awesome.
There's a lot of great fights on the horizon, as we were mentioning, and one fight that is on the far, far, far horizon we found out this week is McGregor Chandler. I made it the thumbnail. I figured it's probably the most clickable news story of the week because McGregor went on the Dana White went on the Pat McAfee show this week. And when Pat was like, hey, when are we going to get McGregor versus Chandler? Dana's answer was eventually, hoping to get it done this year, probably in the fall. In the fall, we were told originally, not told, I guess, when the Ultimate Fighter happened, we thought maybe it'll happen by that summer. Ultimate Fighter filming in March, comes out in May. Maybe by August he could get back.
Yeah, and there was the Boston card, and we thought, hey, McGregor,
that was where the contender. That was where the Ultimate Fighter, the championship fights were.
Yeah. Yes, and then we got maybe we're gonna have it in MSG, and then it was maybe by the end of the year, and then it was maybe by the first quarter of 2024. There's maybe UFC 300, and then there's maybe International Fight Week. And now maybe it's the fall.
It's hopefully the fall, and maybe the fall.
Hopefully this year, it's February. What do you mean hopefully this year?
Also, fall could be November.
Fall could be in MSG. But what is the holdup? There's speculation. Does McGregor even want to come back? There's speculation. The UFC has 2 fights left on McGregor's deal. Are they trying to get him to sign a more long-term thing? He's not interested because he's got $100 million offers in Saudi Arabia.
Good point from Mitt Romney, which came from Ariel. Is Dana using it to leverage the ESPN renegotiation, which is up at the end of this year?
It is.
It is, yeah.
I don't know.
It's not a bad thought, to be honest. It's a deep thought that makes sense.
I've also seen people bringing up that the UFC contracts, the way they work, once you fight, the UFC is legally required to offer you another fight within 12 months. So are they almost pushing this off because once McGregor fights, they'll owe him another one? I don't know. All of that, I get that kind of it could line up. At the same time, I feel like Dana wants McGregor back in the UFC more than anything. Why wouldn't he?
Abraham, if you go over to our Twitter and you click on Robbie tweeted the Rumble link, or you click our link tree, go to the Rumble. That's where we read chat, exclusively read the chat.
Rumble chat, and also the Rumble stream is very high quality.
Yeah,
I think
it's the
better
same.
than
It's
YouTube.
the same. Anyways, thank you guys.
Thank you guys for being in the chat, of course. This is just a situation that's become a clusterfuck.
Well, Ab and I talked yesterday when it came out. Obviously, we talked a little bit to us three, and I will say, if it seems as if McGregor is never going to fight again, he has put in 2 samples to the new USADA.
Yeah, he has, and he put out a whole documentary about his comeback. Like he's constantly going in public and being like, "You're taking away my livelihood. Let me back in there." I just don't know what that could mean. I wish we were a fly on the wall to know what's holding up the negotiation.
I mean, I'd imagine. As much as even Dana's playing, I think McGregor. My instinct is that McGregor's playing the game a little bit more, to be honest, and I almost think Dana's having to kind of like cover for him. I guess would be like the way I'd phrase it, sort of. Because I think I had this thing like a year and a half ago, and I think now I'm circling back to it that I think he just has an inner dialogue of if he still like has that dog in him or not. And I'm dead serious about that. I think he's at a point in his life where he's such a fight fan, and you can tell he watches like a lot of the cards and stuff.
Yeah.
He tweets about him. I think he's watching most cards, and I think he's in this place where he like wants to be that savage he once was so badly, but he's just older and a fucking billionaire.
Yeah,
and just doesn't. It's hard to like. There's a million phrases for it. It's hard to like wake up, be a savage in satin sheets, or get pound the pavement satin sheets, or whatever. Like Dana said, like you pull up on a fucking Lamborghini yacht.
Yeah.
It's a little different than like the fucking Rocky movies and the fucking went like pounding meat and shit. It's just a different just such a different psyche.
Do you think there's part of him that wants to fight but not in the UFC? Do you think there's part of him that's like literally Saudi Arabia will pay me $100 million to box a no name?
He would love to do that. I think he'd love to box.
Yeah.
I think if in a perfect world, if he could do that, he would. In a perfect world, I think he'd rather do that, but he can't contractually. But
and Dana, I think, would not let that happen.
No, and Pacquiao, he's so old now.
Yeah.
He's just so old. Maybe a year, like years and years and years ago, but not now.
I'm thinking I'm McGregor. Even the whole, like you said, maybe he doesn't have that dog in him. But that Saudi money, theoretically, obviously, we know it's here now, and we don't know 100% that it will be there down the line. But there will be a boxing match between McGregor when he's far past his prime. Right now, he's still kind of in it physically speaking. He can still go in the UFC and fight at a pretty high level. He can do the boxing down the line against a Mayweather, if it's the second time, or a Pacquiao, or even a Canelo, or Jake Paul. Like, we keep going. Don't do
Canelo. That's not a great idea. This tweet from Luke Thomas today actually broke my heart. Just having it laid out like this, I had never thought of it like this. McGregor was 29 when he fought Mayweather. Since then, he competed one time when he was 30, one time when he was 31, twice at 32, never at 33, never at 34. He's currently 35. He turns 36 in July.
Wow.
That's usually the prime of an MMA fighter's career, especially someone at his level or whatever. The fact that he might have like missed his prime is crazy to me and heartbreaking. It's also like Michael Chandler's 37 years old right now. He's being iced in this whole situation.
That's where I was saying. I think Chandler's at that point where I wouldn't fault him if he considered just kind of bailing on this. I almost feel like he's probably in a place where he's almost basically like pot committed.
Yeah.
And I talked about this with Jack too. I know they discussed it somewhere, but basically he definitely made a shit ton of money to do The Ultimate Fighter.
Definitely. I
know Dana said like basically had hinted. Dana's almost like that, never like about like counting guys' pockets, especially guys that work for him. But I've heard him made multiple comments where like Chandler is like he insinuated essentially he made a fuck ton of money to do The Ultimate Fighter. Because even Chandler like it was like very last minute.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine him doing something that last minute and has like a family, has young kids that he left for months when he's not even doing a fight camp. And he was assuming at the time he was about to do like another fight camp after that.
Yep.
That I imagine they paid him a shit ton of money.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they paid him a shit ton of money and then a year later or 6 months down the line, they were like, hey, we're sorry, this is holding up. Here's a little more money.
Also,
Maybe that's possible.
If you were just to look at it from a just pure chance of making money perspective, waiting around for the McGregor fight is a chance worth taking, because if that fight happens, which I mean, even though it hasn't, there's a high chance it happens.
Yeah.
You're going to get paid so much money.
Yeah.
A purse that, and I know Michael Chandler's been at the top of the sport. He's in Bellator. He's been in title fights in the UFC, but it will never come close to, it's the red panty night. It's like, you'll never have anything like it again. So I get him waiting. It's kind of like, and also he's been in some wars, man. Maybe a year off or two later in his career is not the end of the world for him. And like you said, we know him. He's a guy who's going to be in media. He has some kids. He does so much stuff with busing. He'll be great there. Maybe like not being as active. I know he loves being active. It's not the worst thing in the world for him right now.
Yeah, on busing, they asked him like basically what if like it just never happens, and he gave the classic Chandler answer. But I think he was telling the truth. Basically, was like obviously if that's happens, it is what it is. But it's crazy where he's in a place now where I almost think he could take a fight and maybe the fight's just still available.
I think so too. I
Like
mean,
it's been long enough he could have now, but now it's whether you're like
it's like if
that's
he
a slip.
loses,
It's a
does he
slippery.
get replaced?
That's what I was gonna say. It's a very slippery slope because it's already a fine line of people are like Nate Diaz or like somebody else would be bigger fight. So it'd be tough if he goes and like loses to somebody.
You might have lost.
Then
Night.
it's a very like a fine line what he wants to do.
Here's a question from the Rumble chat. They should announce it mid Super Bowl. So I don't know if that's referring to just McGregor's comeback or the UFC 300 main event, which people are now speculating could be announced mid Super Bowl. Dana White has said he's going to be at the game to film something in the first quarter, and then he's going to leave. Tickets also go on sale next week, I believe, so that they're going to have to announce a main event.
So let me pose and get you guys' thoughts on it. My knee jerk to that was like, it's going to get drowned out.
Unless it's McGregor.
Yes. No, I'm with.
It's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
It's
the
Super
middle
Bowl,
of the
but
Super Bowl.
If Dana White is like Conor McGregor's back at UFC 300, I think that would be when people do the recaps of commercials or whatever the next day, that it'd be hard to beat that.
People would but the next day, the number one thing on sports will still be like the Super Bowl.
And Taylor Swift.
This is the Taylor
That
Swift
too.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes, that too.
And even if it was just Usher's still like, I'm not trying to downplay UFC. Like Usher's a huge deal. Like, what if Usher does something? Like, it's like let's say it's an amazing game. Like, there's a billion things that could happen. Why would you? And also, we know Dana. Dana has announced fights after like Bellator announces something, or like Francis
sometimes
Ngannou.
in response to stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you will have a lot of the other side of that is if it's the Super Bowl, you're gonna have 100 million plus people watching the commercial.
Yeah.
You think he just bought like a commercial for the UFC? Like if the UFC,
said he's going to be there to film something. Like he's going to do it live.
But what's the Super
imagine
Bowl
he had
Fox?
both. Imagine he just had both headliners there.
Is it on Fox?
Not CBS because
Okay, so-
Romo's doing it
Yeah.
and Nance.
Yeah.
So CBS has no. I was going to say if it was on ABC, maybe it's the whole thing. But if CBS has no connection,
No, but LJD he makes it for like the most casual eyes to be able to see the announcement. That's a fair point.
yeah.
It's a fair counter.
And if the most casual, this is something that Ev and I were talking about, and maybe it was when you were over there with us too. Like, and this is wrestling, but it's are we getting worked? Like,
We might be getting worked.
huge work, and we're on Super Bowl
That'd be
Sunday.
the best case
I said I
scenario.
picked the green smoke.
Yeah.
Just all of a
Like,
sudden,
Surprise, surprise.
they're like, "Oh my god!
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise! The king is back!" And
Like, that
it's
would
like,
be
"Oh
an
my!"
all-time
Glass
Super Bowl
shatters. Like,
commercial.
"Oh my god!
And that could even
He's back!"
We do have UFC 298 next week.
I was saying we could see that more. I'd see something like what I was describing, like at 298.
Yeah.
Now, if we're getting worked, this would be all time.
It would be the greatest work ever.
Oh, I'd be so
If
excited.
they were just telling us,
Oh,
we don't
man.
know when it's going to happen. And
and then
fight
the
is
McAfee
fucking
Honestly-
done.
work.
That'd be so
Honestly,
good.
That'd be just marketing
That'd be
genius.
so
The entire world, the people are like, "Oh, 299's better. You botched the
Yeah.
car. Like you blew it." Dana's just laughing in a lair somewhere, like they have no idea. I'm about to drop McGregor DS3 on their ass for the main event.
I did see. Did you see last night? Aspinall keeps kind of like.
Yo, did you see the Ben Davis? I didn't even know if that was real.
What?
He looked so thin.
Yes.
They were like, "Is he going down to 205 to fight Poatan for them?" I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! This is fucking crazy." But can you think he could get to 205 though?
No,
I don't think he can, dude. He's so big.
Bro, his arms.
We're laughing about it, like it
His
just
arms are the
because
size of my head.
we're laughing because it'd be crazy. He is such a big human being. I don't think he could. I don't think his frame could get to 205.
Bro,
he's so like broad shouldered, and you said legs.
Huge.
Yeah, like because Poatan obviously he's such a huge guy, but he's thinner than than Aspinall is obviously. But I read a thing about the Duplessis, which basically was like he sounded like it would be unlikely he could be ready physically by then. He was just in a war. He was saying he still is like recovering, even like this was like 2 days ago.
Do you think Izzy was told like maybe it could happen? Because it seemed like Izzy was like training for UFC 300, unless he was just fucking with people.
He put up the Spartan like 300 thing, but we know Izzy loves to do. He's been vocal. He loves to do shit like that.
Yeah.
So that could go either way with him.
I have an unbelievable clip I'm about to show you.
Oh.
Before I do want to say Aspinall did post on his story flights to Vegas for UFC 300 with the thinking emoji and then the Poatan emoji, the rock face emoji. Now, maybe he's just, Aspinall's kind of, he's English. He's kind of like, they love to banter.
Being cheeky.
Being cheeky. But speaking, this is a perfect transition. There's a game being played right now, I think in Saudi.
Oh, I think I saw the clip.
Have you seen this?
I did see this.
This is Undertaker with the ball for the game.
It's the trophy that's going to be presented. And Ronaldo's playing in this game. They brought is that Saudi?
Yeah.
They love bringing the Undertaker to Saudi.
What?
And they have him put his whole gimmick on every time. Like he hasn't wrestled in years, and they're like, throw the singlet on. Like to do that.
Also, I think the Poatan Jamal Hill. I think that's the 301 headliner in Brazil.
Brazil, right? Yeah.
That's what I think. It just makes so much sense.
Okay, so predictions.
Because I think maybe Hill might need like just a little bit more time.
UFC 300 main event.
If it's Poatan Jamal Hill.
No, just in
will the main event?
Who do you think the announcement will be?
Like, what are the options that are
DDP can't
likely? DDP Izzy, that's I guess an option out there. Izzy Poatan 3.
Yeah, that would be an option. That'd be an option.
Do
you think there's a world that Izzy would go up to 205 and do that?
I do. I think there's definitely enough zeros on the check. I think he'll do it.
That's possible. I
don't know if it would be a good move. The last time he went to 205 clearly wasn't, but I think he would give it another shot.
And I've said this a few times. I just think he just ended the last fight so emphatically. Like, why do that again?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And the DD
Unless they're willing to pay a crazy number. Where it's
I guess so. That I guess if that was
history, UFC 300 a little bit. I don't know.
Because even Izzy Pereira 3, do you find that it's the fights have been so good? Like do you think it would be an underwhelming like call kind of thing? Like, do you think it'd be a little underwhelming?
What?
Izzy Pereira 3?
There's a
for UFC 300 main event.
Both of them are such huge names that I think it would be a fine last second. I wouldn't get as excited as I would have for Poatan Aspinall. Poatan Aspinall. I would be more excited for Izzy Poatan than Poatan Hill on UFC 300.
People are going to call me like a casual for this take, but I think the way they built UFC 300, any main event other than Conor is going to be disappointing in a lot of fans' minds.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And there's obviously amazing fights you could put in that are worthy of that spot, but when you're saying it's the biggest MMA card of all time, we expect like the biggest MMA fighter to be in the main event.
Even I've been kind of surprised at the fans that I've seen so much backlash of like even Izzy DDP that people are like, who wants to see this? And I'm like, I think you're nuts saying that. But I've seen a lot of people say it.
We're also so in the world of like really hardcore fans. Yeah. We have to remember when Dana sits down, like, and they're making this, they're planning things out. Where you make the money is not like you want to respect the fans, of course, but like UFC 300, like you hear DDP strict, like DDP is he like that? That's like something that they'd be able to build up so easy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And as much as Izzy gets like I think a lot of unwarranted hate now, and the way people are trying to like misremember his greatness now is actually getting out of control.
Yeah.
People are like, why does he deserve another title shot? He's like 3-2, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Dismantled the division.
Like, what are you talking
Literally,
about?
Like,
Strickland only got a shot because he dismantled.
He had honestly, I think the boring fight against Cannonier like hurt his. Some people for some reason are clinging on. People are forgetting that he was knocking out literally everyone on his way to the belt. Dismantled Whitaker the first time he fought him. I mean, he had a couple that like the Vittori fight was like, and even the second Whitaker fight was like not like the greatest. He probably could have been more aggressive. But I mean, even like his like 2 Pereira fights that were great. Like he landed like literally like, probably knockout of the year. And then he has the Blachowicz fight where he goes up to 205 and he loses at 205 like that. He's only lost to champ. And then he had the performance against Strickland. Where like
is right. Dana did say last week, if he did not announce it, he's going to get oiled up.
So
now he's not been oiled up and he hasn't announced it.
He said this was the week that he had to do it, or it was last week?
Last week.
But he said that this week he was going to, or he said last week that he was going to announce it by like now or
10,000 comments,
which he did.
He did. Dana had to announce UFC 300 by Sunday, or he would be oiled up.
Maybe that's what he's filming at the Super Bowl. They're going to oil him up in the first quarter.
He's just lathered in oil.
Imagine everyone being like the non-MMA fans
like,
being
what
like,
the fuck is happening right now?
So some company just threw him like $50 million to do like a fucking oil commercial.
Maybe that's why he can't go back to the Super Bowl because he's going to be so oiled up. Imagine.
Oil me up.
LJD in the Rumble chat said Cody Garbrandt and Figgy are kicking off 300. That is true. Dana White confirmed that yesterday. It's a hell of a fight to kick the card off. He did say the first fight of the night, you'd be like, holy fuck. That could obviously main event a fight night. I still can't believe that fight's happening. I know Cody called for it and wanted it, but like, sheesh.
He was coming off 2 wins, and then he's taking a quantum leap.
So this is the fight that Dana said it's going to make you go, holy shit, that's the first fight of the night. That is kind of a holy shit. That's
also brilliant because he wants you in your seats immediately, and 2, you're going to get a knockout pretty fast, highly likely.
We're getting a first round knockout.
We're almost definitely getting Cody getting sent to the Shadow Realm inside of 3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Bronstetter said he expects an announcement by Friday.
By Monday. Because tickets go on sale in 6 days.
So maybe it is.
They're not putting. I don't think they're going to put tickets on sale before a main event.
You think maybe they do it Saturday night when like everyone's in Vegas, kind of thing?
Maybe. Power Slap.
No, but the card.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The card we're about to talk about in a second.
I will say, if he announced, I will say the scenes. If Dana announces UFC 300 at Power Slap and the headliner is Bilal Muhammad.
Nah, he knows better. Dana.
I think Twitter would shut down. I think it would be the.
Nah, don't disrespect Dana like that. He's not doing that. He knows.
This weekend's card, which
love Bilal, but Bilal actually followed me on Twitter.
Yeah, he followed me too. We're gonna do like a.
Yeah, we're going on. Me and Jack.
Remember the name?
Yeah, me and Jack go on his trivia show at some point.
Nice. Shout out Cody who runs it.
Good dudes over there. Yep.
By the way, we have maybe something next week with one of those names.
He did confirm it. If we.
Oh yeah, Anik.
Yeah, we have Anik next Monday. I don't know if we're gonna do it. We're gonna not do it live, but we'll
put it out.
Yeah, this Monday after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And John Anik will be on the show.
Boom, John Anik. Look forward
to Hopefully we get the UFC 300 announcement before.
Oh, dude, I'd love to talk to him about it.
Well,
that's why I planned
Rumble.
When I planned it for that day, just because I figured we could talk to him at least about 298 if we don't get the 300 announcement.
True.
He'll be fired up about it.
So the card this weekend, it's a good card. I think 14 fights, nothing dropped off, right? There's still 14 on it. Hermanson Pfeiffer in the main event, and Elon Musk is going.
Yes.
Yeah. Completely random to read that. Like, I get maybe he's in town for the Super Bowl, wants to check it out, but Elon Musk, of all the cards to go to, he's going to Pfeiffer versus Hermanson.
Yeah, he's going to see Loma versus Bruno Brazil. Like, I mean, why? How could you miss that?
I just expected him, like,
Michael
if he's ever
Johnson.
going to be there, it's going to be like UFC 300, like a Trump style entrance. Like, is there Dana and Elon cool? I think they probably align.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember when Dana said he was going to like help them do the fight with Zuck? Oh,
that's right.
Speaking of Zuck, Meta is concerned with his martial arts.
They put out a statement being like, if he dies doing MMA, like, we got to put something in place.
I think it was in their, like, not even just like a joke. No, it was like in their investors.
They're dead serious.
Their investor like quarterly release saying like our top tier guys. And I wrote a blog and I was like, I broke it down. Like, what are the chances something really goes wrong? If you're looking at a risk management perspective, I get why they said it. Zuck's not going to die sparring, but there is a increased chance that
anything could happen. Yeah, it's MMA.
He did tear his ACL, MCL.
He did allegedly,
but that's not dying.
Well, no, he didn't get put to sleep. He just got choked, and then he closed his eyes and started snoring loudly. But he wasn't asleep.
No,
I made that very clear. All right, let's get into this card. This weekend's card. We start off with a bantamweight bout between Daniel Marcos and Kayleen. Oh, how do you say his last name? Aori? The Mongolian murderer.
Yeah.
The Mongolian murderer.
Yep.
We've seen him before. He's on a 1-fight win streak. He got knocked out by Zahabi and then beat Johnny Munoz last year.
Yeah, Zahabi knocked him out cold. Marcos is coming off that weird fight with Davey Grant that he won, but he didn't really win.
Yeah, that I was on Grant. That felt disgusting. Grant, I thought won as well.
Yeah, Eric Lang. I think Eric Lang is how you say it. I don't love Marcos at his price. I think it's above -200. I think Eric Lang, like if you want to beat him,
250.
And Marcos is kind of he'll be around and whatnot, but he even in his fight against Davey Grant, he only threw like 50 punches or something. I could see him kind of being like the first fight of the night being a parlay ruiner. I'm not going to bet Eric Lang because I'm just not a big fan of his, but I think the Marcos line's a little wide. He's obviously the better fighter though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't lay -250 at Marcos, but I think he wins, and I think a good chance he even knocks him out. I think Grant is he's significantly higher level than the Mongolian murderer.
This is a very interesting card from a line's perspective. There's a lot of not big favorites, but they're relatively big. And there's going to be some underdogs that ruin some parlays because there's a lot of guys in the -200 range getting up to -300. But I like we said about the card, I still like it.
No, I do as well.
This next fight's very interesting.
Yep.
Featherweight bout between Fernie Garcia and Haider Emil. Haider's debut.
Yeah, he was Dana White contender series.
Yeah,
and he was supposed to fight 2 other opponents that both canceled on him.
Yes. I think Haider's going to be a guy that a lot of people like because he just goes for it. I think this is a fair line. I'm going to end up. They're not out yet on some of the books, but I want to look at what Haider's inside the distance line is. Fernie Garcia is 0-3 in the UFC. However, he doesn't really get finished, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, the over 2.5 rounds in this fight is -240, 230.
I kind of feel like Haider.
That's
how
big.
Haider fights. So there's this is Dana White's contender series guys. Is there a curse? Dana White's contender series fade. Fernie is a guy that's hey, he has fought a lot better competition, but he's lost. I do like Haider here though. I think he's just going to overpower him.
Yeah, I would. There's another one where I think he wins, but I wouldn't lay -200 on him.
Mm-mm.
The next fight's a close one, odds-wise at least. It's Zach Pauga versus Bogdan Guskov. Bogdan we saw face Volkan Oezdemir in his debut. It was right.
Yep, and then he just
he lost.
Yeah, he faded at the end. Pog is boring as fuck. Oezdemir brother bonked him.
Yeah,
he was winning that fight and then got just murdered.
He lost
him in fighter final.
He lost to Medeskis.
Yes, Pauga. He was a football player. Pauga. He played in the NFL for a little bit.
I do think he won that fight against Medeskis. I thought. However,
I got robbed on that one too.
Yes.
I remember. Fuck. This is bringing up some bad
This is
memories
the
for
card
me.
of like.
Yeah, I was on
fights
Pauga in that
past.
fight, and it was like a pick-a-mish fight, and he lost. I thought he won, but
Like Guskov this is the second.
like I don't think Pauga's good,
No,
like at all, to be honest, respectfully.
Pauga just wants to like grind you against the fence, and then Guskov's like a guy that will go for it. So it's like you can't here.
I'm picking Guskov to win,
Me
but
too.
not with like
I'm not betting it, though.
serious
I
confidence.
mean, it
But
sucks. If the first 3 fights, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a bet on it.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up betting Guskov just because I have what's called the itch. But
Then you got Max Griffin versus Jeremiah Wells. Max Griffin, a slight underdog here, and I think I like him.
Wells is so unique because he's so dangerous early, but he's someone who, like, if it gets extended, like in the third round, I'd be a little concerned. We've seen him have some crazy, like he murdered Court McGee.
Yep.
He subbed like Blood Diamond. We saw Carlson Harris beat him. I had one of the, if you remember that crazy, like he had Carlson Harris in this hard position and Harris like reversed him. It was where I'm almost like where people thought like Harris was gonna tap, and then he like tapped Wells, or I think he put Wells to sleep actually, the opposite way.
Wells was
that was a good memory. I was on Harris for that one. I'm a big Carlson Harris guy. I think he's underrated.
Max Griffin's got a great resume.
And that's what's making me not like Wells more than I thought I would. Because I was thinking about Griffin. I was like, oh, like, he's like grizzled, like a good vet, like a solid vet, like has done well in the UFC for a while.
It's funny. Wells is like, I think, significantly older than Griffin.
He's fresh. He's like fight fresh, but he is old, a little bit older.
Younger. Wells is 37. Griffin's 38.
Oh, I thought it was.
But Griffin's just crazy. He's been around for so long, and Wells had like 3-4 fights in the UFC.
Wells is so interesting. Even his fight against the Semmelsberger, where it was.
That's right. Yes.
And then Semmelsberger would just like bonk him, and then Wells would win the round.
Mm-hmm.
He has good jiu-jitsu. He comes from that Gracie camp in Philly. I didn't like him at -180, but now that he's down to -148, I've been looking at the line, kind of thinking like. But I've seen a lot of love from Max Griffin from a lot of people I actually respect. But Jeremiah's like, he's just like his like from a body perspective, he's huge, but Griffin's
he's durable too. Like, because it's one of those. I do think Robbie's right. There is a world where I could see like him coming out hot, and then all of a sudden in the third round starting, and if you were holding like a Griffin ticket, you're like feeling pretty good about where it's at. If it's that, if the fight's still going on at that point.
Then you've got Devin Clark versus Marcin Prochnio.
Yeah, this one's another one that's. I think like Devin Clark really just should take care of business. I think Prochnio got knocked out by, no disrespect, but if you got knocked out by Sam Alvey, you stink.
Like, kind of towards the end too.
Yeah.
Shout out Sam Alvey. Like, we love the guy.
Karate combat champ.
Yeah, karate combat champ. But Prochnio, like, I feel like Devin Clark's just gonna go in there and just like he's gonna wrestle fuck.
He should.
Yeah.
I could see even like a ground and pound finish. Even I don't think that's out of the equation.
Also, Clark, when we were at it, when he fought Kennedy,
yes,
he even hurt Kennedy at points. So Prochnio's chin's not the greatest, so we could see something.
I think Clark. I'm seeing Clark by sub 700. I don't hate that even.
This is I think I'm gonna have a Devin Clark in a parlay. Nothing that's crazy. He's -238 right now. I just really look at this fight and think of it as he's going to take care of business. And he's a guy that's gone up against decent competition. This isn't an unknown guy. Like, we know what Devin Clark's going to bring.
And then the next fight is a big one. Loma versus Bruna Brazil. And I have breaking news on this fight.
What?
I received a press release earlier this week to alert me that Brazilian MMA fighter Bruna Brazil has launched her OnlyFans. So if you're interested, OnlyFans.com/Bruna Brazil MMA.
I do not want to disrespect Bruna, but that means Loma bet immediately. If you're launching your OnlyFans,
we get a fight.
The only thing is Bruna from Dana White's Contender Series. Remember, she like destroyed a girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's very like she goes for it early.
Head kick knockout on the Contender Series.
Like by the end of that, she lost her first fight. Then she beat Shauna Claiborne, the woman from
Ireland.
Yeah.
But Shauna came on at the end, and Bruno
She
was
did.
like, I think Loma.
I mean, Loma's a big favorite. She's minus
Yeah.
like 250.
Yeah. Shauna just got awarded some kind of like plaque in Ireland for being like a lifelong mixed martial artist.
Nice.
Like,
I mean,
helping the community.
Shauna, like that was her first fight. It was against Bruna. Like I think Shauna will be back. I think she even has a fight scheduled. She'll be interesting. But Bruna not really just taking care of Shauna. Really, I think this line's fair. Loma's a great just kickboxer, and I mean she's even gotten some subs. Like I mean, what Elise Reed did to her and whatnot.
She's actually about as 290 even, but yeah,
That's
I
the thing,
agree.
it's too
I agree.
That
But
starts to get to the level where
yeah, it's like
Then we've got a double contender series debut fight. It's Balaji Okai versus Timothy Kuamba.
I remember Okai. He just like went for it and just knocked the guy out like pretty early from what I remember.
Yeah, he did.
Both 8-1. Seems like both 5-8.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's just
We haven't seen a lot out of either guy.
It's a tough one. You just not a ton to like build off of other than the contender series. But if I like, I feel like I keep saying the same thing. It's not whether if I had to pick, I'd pick Oki.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't feel like amazing about it.
Oki's another guy that's had like he was supposed to fight Hadzovich, and that got had visa issues. Now Oki's like his level of competition isn't great, but he has ran through his level of competition. I was looking at Hadzovich as kind of like maybe you never know, but as he had to pull out and whatnot. It will be interesting to see Oki. I hope Oki like just destroys him when you get a nice fade spot eventually, because I don't know if he's that good.
And then in the next fight, you've got another contender series debut. It's Carlos Prates taking on Trevin Giles.
Yeah,
Officer Giles.
He's a big favorite.
I think he's just gonna take care of him.
Yeah, Giles has gotten to where Giles had some weird he's had some like he's been putting in some tough competition like the wrong he was who Duplessis made his debut against. He's had some weird breaks like that. He fought his last fight I think he lost to Bonfim.
Yep.
Didn't he fight Morales?
Yep.
Yeah, he did. He's fought that's what I'm saying. He's fought like 3 guys who are like on one now is holding the belt, and the other 2 are like up and coming.
Knocked him out
and now the other 2 are like up and coming contenders.
I kind of think they look at Paratas as like if they're giving him Giles, they're like, hey, we think you're pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
This is what guys who are pretty good have done to Giles. Go out and do that. Now, the only thing is you could look at a line like this and say, look back on it and be like, yeah, you paid minus 240 for a guy that has never fought in the UFC. Giles has fought like literal champs.
Yeah.
And like other guys that are looking to compete for the belt. And it's like, yeah, he just was
the only thing is the 3 guys that we just named, he lost to them all like badly.
Yeah.
Like Bonfim was a very quick sub. Duplessis was a big knockout. Morales was a first round knockout.
It's fucked up that he beat Delidze.
I know, wild, like really early in his career.
Yeah, that I'm looking at his resume right now and just seeing like he beat Delidze and then immediately lost to DDP. It's fucked up.
He got knocked. Was it the first or second round he got knocked out by DDP? Was it like early second maybe?
It was.
Or was it like end of the first? I'm thinking
early second.
This brain. Sometimes it is good.
141 into the second.
That's I have a little tism in me there. That and numbers.
I just lost my spot on the card. That was the main event.
Viara Petrosian. This is where I find like I have something I feel confident about. I like Petrosian.
Oh, I like.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do.
I already bet Viera.
Do you? Okay, I like Petrosian a lot.
What are the odds on this one?
It's like basically a pick 'em. I'm Petrosian might like slight underdog, very slight.
Why do you like him?
I think he's got I think his takedown defense is good enough to hold here. I think he's the better striker. Not that Vieira is like bad, but I think I like his body kicks too. I kind of like he's had some good performances as of late as well. Yeah, I think he's better. I think he's able to keep on the feet where he wants it and kind of like make it his fight. I think he wins like a kickboxing match. That's where I'm at.
Mike's off. There's no way. We've been live for.
Maybe they're fucking with us, Jerry style.
if that's audio? The first guy. If all you guys have been listening,
no, they would have said something by now.
And why do you like Vieira?
Vieira, I just think Petrosian's better on the feet, without a doubt. So you're good. So that's hot, Billy. Thank you. I just think Vieira is so good at if he just gets the takedown, I think he's going to get the back. And I look at him as more dangerous on the ground than Petrosian is on the feet. Like how
I'd agree with that in terms of finishing. I'd agree with that.
And from the perspective of like, we even saw like, even though Vieira he lost the fight, I mean, he how much better of a striker? Like, would you looking at the striking of Chris Curtis and Petrosian? I think I'd give Chris Curtis the edge there.
Better boxer, but I like Petrosian's kick game better.
That's fair,
and I think he's a better like kickboxer. I think Curtis is a better like boxer for sure. But I do agree with you that if it like if it goes to the ground and there's like a back take, I'd be very concerned with my Petrosian ticket, obviously. But I just think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet. I think he's going to be able to defend the takedowns.
Then we've got Michael Johnson versus Darius Flowers. Very close odds on this one in the lightweight division. Michael Johnson, slight favorite. I kind of like Darius Flowers.
I like Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those. I think this is like a levels fight.
It might be.
I don't think Flowers is like great. He's kind of like his contender series win was like kind of weird. He just like slammed the guy and the guy like broke his arm, if I remember, just like kind of like he hurt him with like a weird slam. And then he fought, was it Jake Matthews, and he got beat. That was at 170.
Yeah.
He got beat up in that fight. He basically should have got knocked out to like a body kick that they called like a groin shot, and then just submitted him after, which was as a Jake Matthews sub better in that fight. Thank you. But I remember that one as well. But yeah, I think Johnson, one of those, obviously lost a lot of them, but
he's lost so many fights.
But like he's also, I think he's had a couple of bad decisions. He's coming off a really bad knockout.
Yeah.
Like really bad, like horrible, horrific knockout. Yeah. So that's concerning at his age. But I think he's going to be faster. Like his hands are going to be much faster.
He fought once last year. Before that knockout, he beat Mark Diakasi. He lost to Jamie Malarkey.
And that fight he fucking won too, the Malarkey fight. I got robbed on that one.
And then
I think he looked good in that fight.
I like Michael Johnson here.
He beat Alan Patrick.
He smoked Alan Patrick, knocked him out bad.
I do look at this from the perspective of, hey, Darius Flowers could catch Michael Johnson early. But, like when you're playing these fights and you're playing these odds, you look at an odd. I got Michael Johnson earlier in the week at minus 120. That's implied around the 54, 55%. I think there is a chance that Michael Johnson gets bonked by Darius Flowers.
Sure.
But if this goes further into the fight, I think Michael Johnson's a much better martial artist, like mixed martial artist, and he's pretty good from the perspective of his just overall game. I mean, this is a guy that's fought in the who's who of his division, and Darius Flowers is just I think he's fun. His upside's around 1 KO, and there's a chance that Michael Johnson gets caught, but I don't see it happening. So I have 1.2 units on it. So, but it's a good fight. I understand the matchup, but I think this is just one that's like levels. Even though Michael Johnson's a little bit older, but he just he kind of styles on him, maybe around 2, round 3 finish.
Yeah, no, I think he outboxed him pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you think the next fight is one of these levels fights between Brad Tavares and Gregory Rodriguez?
I'm very curious to get Jack Mack's take on this because I kind of like Tavares.
I understand the Tavares bet,
and because to me RoboCop is well rounded, but he also respectfully is chinless as well.
Yeah.
Like people forget that Jordan Williams. Do you remember Jordan Williams?
Yeah.
Knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah.
And that guy is was in the UFC, got knocked out a few times and was out. Yes, it was out immediately. I just think he's so much I just think
him at plus 200 it says on the UFC
that's what
website.
I'm saying. His takedown defense is really good, and I think that's where RoboCop specifically is much better.
He's a great wrestler.
But if Tavares can stand the feet, which he's has done a lot of his career. Even though it's an old Weidman, Weidman in that fight at the Garden, that was Tavares' last fight in the Boston Garden, was not able to take him down. Shot a bunch of takedowns, was never able to do it. He was killing him with the leg kicks.
Who has the pedo tat on their chest?
I think he was saying Darius Flowers.
Darius Flowers, I think it's the Gracie G, isn't it?
I think so. It's
like
a
massive triangle G.
Yeah, there's a pedo one that looks kind of similar.
Tough. Yeah, but
make sure you write Gracie on it.
Yeah. I would assume it's not the pedo one.
I don't think it is. No.
Yeah.
Anyways, but sorry, I understand what.
Yeah, I think I'm going Tavares plus 200 or better. I think I'm going to bet Tavares.
The only thing is, I was so
if he dies, he dies.
Yeah. I was so disappointed
as they say
in just Tavares against Weidman, right?
Yeah.
You said you were disappointed, or?
Yeah, because I just felt like he should have gotten him out of there.
Yeah, he just kicked both his legs off. He literally
I mean, he won.
No, I agree. He
broke his other leg.
He broke his other leg. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. I am not betting RoboCop. 1,000%.
I could just see him getting bonked.
Yeah.
He's very bonkable.
I mean, we should have a bonkable rankings, like just like
Cody Garbrandt
from like who's like the ultimate, from like Marvin Vittori to like Phil Hawes. How bonkable is he?
R.I.P. Phil.
Marvin Vittori, like one of the least, maybe the least bonkable man of all time.
Did you see UFC roster watch's tweet last night? Dude,
someone like bought the Twitter account. Is that what happened?
Someone bought the Twitter, and it's no longer like it was originally run as a bot, I think, where they would just update it.
Yes, correct.
Now there is an account doing that, but I'm pretty sure UFC roster watch just copies and pastes that account stuff.
That's tough.
So people were like, "That's kind of fucked. You just bought the account and now are using it for like to try to make Twitter money."
Yeah, it's trash.
The guy did this long soliloquy about retiring as if he was a fucking fighter himself. And then an hour later was like, I've gotten so much support. It made me cry. I'm back.
Him saying I'm getting death threats. Dude, what? You're a faceless UFC roster.
No one knows like who you're. Yeah, no one even knows like your initials. Let alone your name, who you are, your face, anything.
Prepared for the internet.
Also, turn off your DMs. You don't need DMs. It's a fucking bot.
We literally want it to be a bot account.
Verbal meme
I'm sorry, that was the softest thing I've ever seen.
Verbal meme the Tyler Creator tweet where he's like, "You're getting cyberbullied, like just turn it off.
Close your eyes.
Just close your eyes. Just turn it off."
I'm sorry, you cannot have an account that says UFC roster watch and is saying literally just alerting people when they're taken off the UFC rankings website and off the roster, and then get perturbed by death threats.
Good word.
What?
Say that word again.
Perturbed.
And fascinating. I knew exactly what you meant. I've never heard it, but it just fit in the context of your sentence.
Last night I did a TikTok about Bobby Altoff's husband and their divorce, and I cannot say the word reconcilable.
Oh,
reconcilable.
Reconcilable. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I kept getting it wrong, but I knew getting it wrong then people would comment and whatnot. But exactly. I was getting flamed.
That's why I mispronounce fighters' names on this show. Just for comments.
We should say that to John N. Have you ever thought about
think about sliding in a mispronunciation? Pateria, is that how you say his last name? Igor?
Yeah, Igor.
Ihor did the fucking Fortnite dance on the dead body of Shogun Rua.
He did.
Or Hogun Rua.
Also, this man is also very high on the bonk meter, on the bonkable meter.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah. He's very bonkable.
And he's fighting Robert Brishek.
I would think I'm gonna have to run with this bonkable thing.
Who is debuting?
You should make a
Polish fighter.
Bonkable like you cap fights and it's like bonkable factor out of 5.
I see. This is where I need to learn how to make graphics as just doing a meter and just Vittori to Phil Hawes. The hardcores will like that one. Yeah. You think Vittori's a good like the threshold of like who do you think is like the best chin of like all time?
Max Holloway.
He was the other name that popped in my head.
Yeah.
But Vittori's such a rockhead.
Yeah.
Respectfully. And especially, I mean, I want anyone to watch him fight Jared Cannonier and tell me this man's not made of lead.
Yeah.
He was just eating bombs from a big, scary man for 5 rounds straight.
Is Phil Hawes the last one on that?
Yeah.
He's so chinny. He's the chinniest of chinny.
I'm sorry, Phil Hawes. But
I mean, watch the Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis looked like he barely hit him and he was like dead.
Phil Hawes, you are a PFL fighter. Ihor Pretoria,
a future PFL champion.
Let's hope so. Yeah, that'd be great for him.
I'd love that for him. Yeah. Ihor, I guess so. Brisic is favored here. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but like it's just like something about Ihor here. It's just like
you're gonna bet on him. I was gonna fade him just at a pure like. Just this is just pure logic. Like my mindset just sees Pretoria fade.
That so
even Berserk is not like I think I don't even need to know anything about Berserk. It's just more like he's just not Pretoria, like respectfully.
Yeah. Pretoria
you say disrespectful shit, you just say respectfully at the end.
Yep.
Ihor, in his defense, has had moments. Even his
His
moment
last fight, that
against Bellato.
but Bellato stinks, and he had Bellato like
No
dead.
disrespect.
No disrespect. he had Bellato dead, and then Bellato came back and killed him.
But that's what I'm saying.
Which was I bet Bellato, and I like minus like 4, like end up parlay minus like a crazy number, and I was like, how did he do this? Like I didn't deserve to win this at all.
That was a crazy.
His
fight.
only win is the respectable corpse of Shogun Rua.
And he did the fucking Fortnite dance.
Yeah.
And people were like, bro, like this in his
Like, come
in his
on.
retirement fight, he's like 70.
In Brazil too.
And everyone else, I mean, what's his name? Negro Monterrey, who is not a striker. You know, and that's
That's how you say his name.
yeah, it's how you say his name.
Sorry, no. I was like, I was out of it for a second. I was like, hey yo.
I was saying a certain high schooler's name yesterday, and
Yeah.
people didn't like that either.
Yeah.
Oh, people they actually are. People loved it in the office, but
Noah, yeah.
Noah K.
Yeah.
but he Negro Monterrey was like literally murdered him on the feet, and he is like not a striker at all.
He
Murdered him on the feet,
murdered him.
like standing TKO against the cage, like was literally killing him. So I whenever I see his name anywhere, I'm like, just don't bet on him.
I think that's fair.
the co-main event, I'm fascinated by. The main event, I sort of feel like in my mind is a sure thing. The co-main event, I really don't know which way it's going to go. I am leaning Danny Gay.
Me too.
I don't know. Andre.
I like
Feely's fucking
Ige.
good.
Wait, I'm about to swing you. Saturday is the Chinese New Year.
Oh, okay.
And you know how they have the year of whatever.
Year of the.
It's the year of the dragon.
Okay.
On Danny Ige's left pec,
Dragon.
is a dragon tattoo.
Year of the dragon.
It's sorry that he's gonna win.
Boom. And he's going to land a left hand to win it.
Yep.
The dragon.
I was already I did
like
Ige moneyline Ige KO.
Would you guys be surprised if Feely won?
No.
A little bit, I would be, to be honest. I would be a little bit. When Ige to me has become like an awesome gatekeeper, and that like because I've so many times they've tried to give him these like next guys that they want to make a star, and then he just beats them up or like knocks them out badly.
Yeah.
Like I remember like Damon Jackson was on like a run, he sleeps them bad. Before that it was Gavin Tucker was like kind of making a little like slept him in like 30 seconds. Even Nate Landwehr.
Train.
Nate the Train like was
Nate the Train.
he like who I love Nate the Train. And Nate the Train actually came back and made that like a scrap, but really Ige was beating his ass like pretty much most of the fight. I think Ige is legit good. He's never been finished, durable as hell.
I'm with you there.
Even some of his like he had good fights like I'm talking 3-4 years ago with like Cater, which Cater clearly won, but like 5 round like good. I remember like
That
good
was a great fight.
good scrap. He got wrestle fucked by like Bryce Mitchell.
Yep.
But literally just purely like I just got out grappled.
And this is a short notice for Philly. Chatbot Jerry brings it up. This is he was supposed to fight Lerone Murphy, who I think
I was going to bet Ige in that too.
I was gonna bet Ige. I think my play of the year.
I actually think I said that in the I actually think I
sorry.
That was so aggressive. Said, I hate Lerone Murphy.
I actually
he seems like
I'm
a fine
pretty
guy. They robbed me of my money against.
I'm
him
pretty
against,
sure I put that in the group chat.
Yeah.
That I was like, all right, I was gonna like max bet Ige against Lerone Murphy.
Yeah.
I want
Because we were gonna get like we were gonna get
Lerone
we-
Murphy
we-
right now.
we were gonna after Ige knocks out fucking Feely on Saturday, rebook.
Yeah.
Instant rebook. I hope they make that fight like a pick 'em again so I can just smash Ige.
Was it Bomb Theme who he fought? Who did he fight?
Lerone?
Lerone.
No, Gabriel Santos. In I got robbed in that one in that was the
Brazil.
that was no. It was Usman fucking Usman
was
Leon
London.
3, yes, in London.
Yeah.
That was the main event. It
It
was
was like plus 180. And
Yes.
He won the fight so easy.
Santos definitely won. I thought he could have got a 30-27. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember I was sick. Anyways.
Murphy's
Yeah, weren't you? You were in it was Vegas, maybe?
no, I was in
Ohio.
Columbus. I was in Columbus
That's where you were.
because I was doing horrible, and Leon Edwards, like literally my like financial savior, like pulled me up from just like the depths of hell.
Yeah.
And max bet him at plus like 200 and he won.
I'm gonna bet Danny Ige straight.
God bless
I
him.
think I'm gonna bet him right after the show.
I'm betting both straight and knockouts plus like 250.
And then the main event. Do you guys feel like this is as sure a thing as I think it is? It's Jack Hermanson versus Joe Pyfer.
I think if you're gonna bet Piper, do it rounds like 1 and 2 or rounds 1.
Agreed.
Either I wouldn't even put him in like parlays minus 280 and shit. The price getting too high. If you're gonna bet him, it's bet him like first round or second round, and like to me, that's it. Because I think if it goes any further than that, you're sweating your balls off. He might have cardio. We just haven't gotten to see it, and I just think it's a scary like a premise to lay that kind of number against Hermansson, who has fought literally like Hermansson's like solid. He's fought everyone. He hasn't fought in a long time, but he's got like a good jab. Like he has some good things going. He's a solid grappler. Has good like submissions. Yeah. We've seen him pull like crazy heel hooks and shit out of his ass. Respectfully, out of his ass. He obviously is very skilled, but like I remember even the fucking like the Gaslam fight. Like it's like, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, like boom, like heel hook, and it just the fight's over. He has that in him. He's very like he's skilled like that. But yeah, I think Piper.
Piper KOs Ngannou, yeah.
Did you see his? So
yeah.
I'm sure everyone saw the Rogan, or somebody saw the Rogan thing. If you didn't, Sean Brady was on Rogan, who's like his best friend, trains him. They do a podcast together, and Piper basically I guess it was the what's it called, the Apex, the PI. Yeah. He broke like Ngannou's record in the machine for hardest punch like ever recorded.
Yep.
And he did it, and they were like, no, like this can't be real, like it's fake. And he did it like 3 times in a row. And they just basically were like, fuck you, this isn't real. Like this, there's no way you're doing this. And he like went off on the people. He was like, fuck those fucking nerds. Yeah. Like they won't give me my respect. Like I hit hard as fuck. It was pretty funny. But I think Piper's gonna win. Like I think I'm gonna bet him like either round 1 or I'd like to find like around like round 1 or 2. Because I still think he's very live in like round 2, but
Dick Riding Ngannou is crazy from MPI.
But yeah, I think Piper's gonna get it done. But I wouldn't lay this price. I would only bet like runner, like early knockout, something like that.
So my only concern is like I look at Hermansson, his cardio is amazing. He has great wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he even wrestled Hamzat like in an event. And
yeah.
Hamzat won, but they like had a close wrestling match. His losses have been by decision, or Lindsay got his it was like a leg lock, right?
Yeah.
He's gotten hit a little bit. He is not, like I said, he's not Phil Hosbonkable. He's I'd put him like maybe the bonk skills like this. He's like a little bit on this side, like right there.
But I mean
like his cannoneers bonked him. I remember Vettori didn't knock him out, but early in the fight he like dropped him bad and then ended up like kind of handily winning a decision. But we're talking about like the top like staples in the top 5.
I mean, yeah.
So like they're like not, and Dolidze pulled an insane, and Dolidze's an insane grappler, and put him in the most like I've never even seen the position. I'm like really put him in a calf slicer, but like from his back, where he just had him like flattened out in a calf slicer. He couldn't move.
So
and just TKO'd him.
It's like if you're looking at like this is a veteran of the game. He's fought everybody outside of Izzy, and he's done all right. And Piper's really fought nobody. His best is Gerald, is GM3, who I think Hermansson would run through.
You're like Al Hassan, which one do you prefer?
Yeah. And so let's say he can avoid the big shots early. Then you get into like, we don't know about Piper's cardio. There is a chance, but when I close my eyes and I think about this fight, I think there's a great chance Piper just runs through him.
That's what I think.
And I think that's why the line is pretty fair. But if it gets up to 250, 275, I'm definitely going to have to consider Hermansson.
You think it could get that high?
No.
Because that means Piper laying almost like 400 at that point, which would be nuts. I think it's already gotten a little bit crazy that he's in the high 2s.
I just think it's like still like, I understand this is a fraud check kind of thing. It's like, let's see. But like, it's
like a strong fraud check, though.
He's good. Like Hermansson's a good fighter.
Like that's what I'm saying. Hermansson's been like, he's always been like one fight away from that title eliminator or like that shot, and just was never able to win that fight.
He lost to Strickland in a split decision.
Yeah,
literally that close.
I thought Strickland had won that fight like pretty. Like I thought it should have been a split, but it was like close though.
Question from the Rumble chat. Piper Bo Nickel is a for sure future matchup. Who's the better prospect, though? I would have to
Bo
think.
Nickel.
Yeah, I think you have to say Bo. Like Piper's fought better guys so far for sure.
Piper's story is crazy. His dad's like the biggest asshole of all time.
Yo, so ESPN MMA, their YouTube did like they did kind of a documentary, like they do like the part on each of them.
Yeah.
And his is like him getting more detail about it was pretty wild.
Yeah, the fact
Dude,
dad didn't talk to him for forever. forever. Then when he lost on Dana White,
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. You saw that, Bob?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then his dad sent him a message after that and said, like, you quit like a bitch. It's like fucking. Oh, sorry. His elbow got like
his arm literally snapped. He was winning the fight too.
That was the first time his dad talked to him in years. After
really
his dad
sad.
kicked him
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
And I mean,
That'll give you the anger to fucking hit harder than Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, dude. I mean, his dad it literally made me think of a world where Piper gets like the title shot and like loses a close fight. And his dad's like, oh, like I just pictured like the word. I'm like, this, like what? Yeah, literally, I was like, what a scumbag this guy
biggest
is.
top 5 scumbag of all time.
Like that when he told that story, I almost, I don't know when you guys watch it. Did you guys watch it from that, or did it get clipped on something?
I saw it on Twitter.
Because I when I watched, I almost immediately I almost just said to the group chat, I was like, I saw it, and I was like, whoa, I was like, holy shit.
I heard it on a podcast with somebody.
He did Rogan. Did he tell it on Rogan?
It wasn't with him. It was recently. I think it was Stat Diggers, which is a good show that they do it Sunday nights before the next week's fights. I think they brought it up. Like his dad's just it's with DFS by the numbers and Uncle Wheezy. Those two guys are guys are great. I think that's where I heard about it. Crazy story.
His assistant like high school wrestling coach just like took him in basically.
Yeah.
Let him live with him through high school, or he lived with another kid through high school, I guess, and then he lived on the guy's couch or lived in his basement for like 4.5 years.
The Mystic Mac will be back, says never mind. Sage and One are beefing.
They are beefing.
He basically came out and said that based on the way One portrayed it was not true.
Yeah, that they had issues getting his corner visas. He gave everything he needed to,
like
well
68 days before or something.
Yeah, they made it like they offered him like all these coaches, and he just was like, I'm not fighting. Yeah. I think they made it more like he just said like no, and I don't think it was that cut and dry.
And I mean, like we talked to him like literally like 2 weeks before. It seemed as if he was more. I mean, he went all the way out there.
Yeah,
that's why I was surprised that he didn't fight, just because he like to go all the way to Tokyo. Yeah, and to not fight. I would be. But that's also me just thinking like, damn, like I feel like if I was out there, I would just need the money. I have no idea what his financial situation is.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm just thinking, obviously I'm not a fighter, but I'm just like, damn, like I went all the way to Tokyo. I'm like here. Yeah, it's got to be tough to just be like no and then not get paid.
I was told by them over the phone and by text, my main jiu-jitsu coach did not need a visa since I paid for his airfare, flights, and trip. So he's not classified as a working employee that needed a visa. Now my other coach could get in as a tourist, so he didn't need one either. My coaches were there.
That sounds shady. Like as soon as he says that, I'm like, just fucking get these coaches visas.
My coaches were there for almost a week, and I was not informed of that. Or that 2 of them could not coach until hours before my match.
Oh, wow.
I received a text from an unknown number that texted me for the first time that day. That was a ticket salesman asking me about getting my 2 coaches complimentary tickets to watch my fight in the audience. I personally believe that One Championship was not going to inform me that my coaches were not allowed to corner me until I arrived at the arena to fight if I did not hear from a ticket salesman an hour earlier.
It's a bad look for One, for sure.
That just makes no sense to me. Like where
we were also told hours before my match that if my coaches violated the visa requirements and were caught on camera, they could be arrested, and there was a 99.8% conviction rate on all arrests.
That's a crazy conviction rate.
99. I wouldn't bet against those odds.
That's an unbelievable.
Jesus.
You hear that an hour before you're about to fight, you're like, no.
I made it clear to One Championship that I was not flying from America to Japan if I didn't have my 3 coaches. I was told before I left to Japan by an executive that I would not have to fight without my coaches. They knew before I left that I would not be able to have 2 of my coaches. This is all from Sage, his Facebook. They never told my coaches could be thrown in prison for any visa violations. There have been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with One Championship with what caused me to withdraw from my last fight, as well as other things that I will talk about at a later time on Facebook, Instagram, and with media outlets. Maybe we could get them on. I'm drug testing, weight cutting, active athletes roster, One stability, etc. He did not tag us, but he did tag Brendan Schaub.
Oh,
Joe Rogan, Ariel.
So he's trying to get it out there.
Chael Sonnen, ESPN.
Yeah, that's a bad look for even just the beginning of it. Them being like, well, we could have a workaround for this corner, man. If you pay for him, and we say the other one's a tourist, like already, I'm feeling weird if I'm Sage Northcutt.
Yeah, that's.
Like, how about we just do this like professionals, and you get the necessary
and
stuff.
when you go into another country and there's an issue with visas and potentially getting
arrested
and
Yeah,
convicted.
fuck that. Yeah.
Fuck that.
But how the fuck were they able to not corner him, but they could watch the fight from the
They could
arena?
get in, but
It would
because
be a
they wouldn't be
tourist.
working. If they corner him, they're working the event, and now they need a visa.
Yeah, that's
that's
crazy.
a headache.
So that's like when a lot of it will say like visa issues with like fighters not coming. It's usually like those work visas that are harder to maintain. But it's like, shouldn't it be so easy for the UFC to just be like, hey, this guy's coming over and he's fighting in the UFC and then he's going home.
Yeah.
Like it should be a 2-week visa.
Yeah. All right. That was the show for today. Are you guys down to do a show after Saturday's card?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. So
Can't
after
wait.
Saturday,
It's an earlier card. It's like a 4 to like 7 main card,
Yeah.
7 p.m. main card.
come back to all of our channels, Rumble, everywhere where you can find the show, and we'll do a recap live right after the main event. So be sure to subscribe, and you'll know when we're going live. Thank you for tuning in today. Make sure to like the stream wherever you're